Right, welcome to the stream everyone. Today we're doing two streams. We're going to be doing Bournemouth versus Man City and we're going to be doing Tottenham versus Newcastle. If you are new to the channel and you want to see more streams for Premier League, Championship and Cup games, hit the subscribe button because I'm going to be doing loads throughout the season. But I'm going to go through the lineups and then we'll look at the match facts. I think I'm not too sure if they have them on here, but I'll see. We'll look at the lineup. So Bournemouth's lineup. Let me just get it up. Okay, why isn't this updated? Right, so Bournemouth are playing a 5-4-1 with Ramsdale in goal, Smith right back, Daniels left back, Ake, Cook and Metham at centre back, Billing and Lerma in the midfield with Fraser on the left, King on the right and Callum Wilson up front. And on the bench for them they have Boric, Sermon, Solanke, Ibe, Rico, Harry Wilson and Simpson. And then for Man City they're playing 4-3-3 with Ederson in goal, Laporte and Otamendi centre back, Walker right back, Zinchenko left back, David Silva, Gundogan and De Bruyne in the midfield with Bernardo Silva on the right, Sterling on the left and Aguero up front. Then on the bench for them they have Bravo, Angelino, Rodri, Fernandinho, Mahrez, Cancelo and Foden. That's probably one of the best. Well, that's probably one of the best Man City sides they could play. They could have Stones there, but obviously he's not involved today. But got 22 minutes till kick-off. Gonna look at the league table and see where both teams can end the day. So if we look at the league table, so if Man City win, they go second in the league. If Bournemouth win, they go second in the league. If they draw, then Man City go third, Bournemouth go fifth. Actually, no, fourth, I think. Fourth or fifth, I'm not too sure. But Tottenham are playing today. If they win, they'll go on 7 points. Wolves are playing today. They can go on 5 points. And then Newcastle playing today. They can get their first points of the season. And Burnley, I think. No. Yeah, Burnley are playing today. They can go up to 6 points as well. So, table could change a lot today. My prediction's 2-0 to Man City. But we'll have to wait and see. Top scorers, Sterling has 4 goals. He's starting today, so he can easily go up to 5. Jesus suffers hamstring injury. That's why he's not involved today. I mean, that's what their team looks like. And then we'll scroll down to Man City's in a second. And that's Man City's team. Right, there's nothing on there, just injury news and stuff. Look at the other fixtures today, both kick off at 4:30, Tottenham v Newcastle and Wolves Burnley. I don't know, I think my YouTube's glitched or something. Let me just check something. And then never mind, it isn't glitched, just... it's fine. Still got 17 minutes till kick-off. Don't know what to do, to be honest. Let's look at other fixtures today. Swansea winning 3-0 7 minutes ago. That's why I didn't do that, because I knew that there'd be about 5 minutes until the game when I ended that stream. No, yeah, 5 minutes till the start of Bournemouth Man City. Rangers winning 1-0. Celtic playing at 3. There you go, there's the commentary sorted. Got 4 likes, but nobody's... it says there's been 1 viewer. That makes no sense, to be completely honest, but... There we go. We'll put that on the screen with music over the top. Just while we wait. So I don't know what to do for the next 15 minutes. Let me just go on this. I'll just put this on for now. And let me pause that and I'll turn that on as soon as the game starts. iSims says I'm here. Well, welcome to the stream.
Every time the choices you made, did you make them again, 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 again? All the lies that you told, did you believe in them? All the choices you made, did you make them again, 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 again? All the lies that you told, did you believe in them? Again, 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 again. Choices you made, did you make them again?
All the choices you made, did you make them again?
Choices you made, did you make them again, 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 again? Light it up, light it up, light it up. Light it up, light it up, light it There's lightning on the 12 for you and I. The sun will rise tomorrow. There's lightning on the 12 for you and I.
Change. In comes Chris Mepham in the only alteration. Champions Manchester City travel to the Vitality Stadium to take on Bournemouth, looking to overcome their VAR disappointment in the 2-2 draw against Tottenham last week. They have an excellent record against Bournemouth. They've won every single Premier League meeting since the Cherries promotion in 2015. They've made one change from that Spurs game. It's a very attack-minded one as David Silva comes in to replace Rod. Well, we'll just leave that there because we're about to get underway in this independent off-tube studio commentary. It's Bournemouth against Manchester City in the Premier League from the Vitality Stadium. And for Manchester City, they're playing against opponents who they love to feature against. They've won every single meeting against Bournemouth since they were promoted to the Premier League in 2015. Their season has got off to a good start. They were relatively unlucky to only come away from the game against Tottenham with a point, including the VAR controversy at the end of the game as well. Gabriel Jesus' goal was disallowed because of a handball in the build-up, so Bournemouth know that they've got a massive task on their hands this afternoon. They line up as follows with Aaron Ramsdale in goal. He's making a name for himself early on at the beginning of the season. One change from the 2-1 win against Aston Villa. That sees Chris Mepham come into the lineup. He lines up in a back three along with Steve Cook and Nathan Ake. Adam Smith and Charlie Daniels will play as the wing-backs, with Jefferson Lerma and Phil Billing in midfield. Ryan Fraser in behind Josh King, and Callum Wilson as Josh King has the first shot at goal just inside the minute mark. Space opened up in there, so they've already done better than the corresponding fixture last year in that regard. For Manchester City, they make just one change from that game against Tottenham, an attack-minded one that sees David Silva come into the midfield for Rodri. So they go with Ederson in goal, a back four of Kyle Walker, Nicolas Otamendi, Aymeric Laporte and Alexander Zinchenko. Kevin De Bruyne, Ilkay Gundogan and Silva in midfield, with Bernardo Silva and Raheem Sterling supporting Sergio Aguero up front, as Manchester City just trying to get on the front foot at the moment, but then they've given away a foul over on the far side. Zinchenko just caught in possession there. It's myself, Dan McCarthy and Matt Guy taking you through this fixture. And Matt, I think we would expect Manchester City to win, but perhaps not to the one-sided extent that it was last season.
Well, yeah, as last season, as you just mentioned, Bournemouth already having a shot on goal. They didn't have a single shot in that game last season, so positive start for Bournemouth. They did win the ball back off Kevin De Bruyne to get that chance to come forward, and that's maybe something that Bournemouth need to keep doing. They have to put pressure on Manchester City in and around the midfield where they can, and then hope that the likes of Fraser, Wilson and King up front can try and hold the ball up and bring others into play.
Yeah, Bournemouth now looking to get forward down the right-hand side. It's picked up by Adam Smith, but Zinchenko cuts his pass out. Smith is forced to retreat backwards into Chris Mepham, who in turn goes all the way back to Aaron Ramsdale. It was such a lightning-quick start to the season for Manchester City. A 5-0 victory against West Ham, really laying down a marker for a third consecutive Premier League title win. But drop points can be so crucial, and even though we're only 2 games into the season, we look at the end of the title race last season, where both Man City and Liverpool, it was just an arms race. They were just continually winning games, and those drop points will probably mount up at the end of the season because we expect them to be just as strong this term.
Absolutely, and when we look back at previous seasons, maybe before that, this sudden rise to glory for Manchester City in recent seasons, maybe you could afford to lose a couple of games a season, but Liverpool lost 1 game last season and still managed to not win the title. It's so vital that every single game you come away with massive huge 3 points every single game, and especially when a game goes the way that Liverpool played yesterday against Arsenal, Manchester City have to bounce back from that draw against Spurs, and they have to win.
Yeah, they certainly do. I mean, 5 points is the gap already at this stage of the season, even though we know that they've got this game in hand. Bournemouth, though, they've started quite well this game, as Nathan Ake appears to have picked up a knock when running down the left-hand channel. The Dutch defender up against De Bruyne, and he's kind of just caught really by Kyle Walker quite late on. He falls to the ground and does a few rollovers as De Bruyne lent in. Just have another look at the replay. It's not a good challenge really from Kyle Walker, and I don't know if Andre Mariner, who's the referee today, I don't think he's given him a yellow card. It's perhaps one of those where we're only 4 minutes into the game. If we were 34 minutes in, that would be a sure booking.
Yeah, maybe, because Ake was running down the left. He was slightly off balance because of De Bruyne, but he did get there first, and Walker completely clattered him and knocked over his ankle. Surely a sore one for Nathan Ake. Maybe, as you're saying, a yellow card would have come later in the game.
Laporte knocks it away. The free kick went into the box and nothing came of it. So City just trying to assert themselves, but Bournemouth really pressing high and trying to stop City from playing their natural game. They eventually got the ball back to Nicolas Otamendi, who finds Bernardo Silva on the near side. He reverses it to Kyle Walker, and now Kevin De Bruyne, who whipped in an absolutely wonderful ball for Raheem Sterling for the opening goal against Tottenham. The assist for the second goal was pretty good as well, teeing up Sergio Aguero just inside the 6-yard box. Again, has to be has to be a big player for them in this game, as Otamendi goes across now to Aymeric Laporte, just ambling over into the Bournemouth half. He plays it forward for Aguero, who looks to reverse it to Raheem Sterling. Sterling, can he cut it inside? Aguero will try and recover. He's chasing towards the far touchline, but Bournemouth was showing some good pace there with Josh King, who tries to slip in a ball for Callum Wilson, and Wilson concedes the throw-in. The last touch was deemed to have come off him, but it's been a good start to the game for Bournemouth. I mean, looking at how they're lining up, you'd almost expect Callum Wilson to be quite isolated, but he already looks like that he's going to have chances created for him in behind.
Yeah, and it came from a counter-attack really. The ball was played in behind Chris Mepper, of course, the youngster, able to get the foot on the ball, play it to Josh King, who was more than happy to run at a player, and he just showed that down the right-hand side, ran past a couple, got his team further at the pitch and played it straight to Wilson. And he is always going to be battling in there against the likes of Laporte and Otamendi today, and if King and Fraser can support him, they could get some joy.
Yeah, they certainly could. Here is Aymeric Laporte now, back to Otamendi. John Stones misses this game with a thigh problem. Gabriel Jesus not involved in the squad as well through injury, so no natural centre forward to come off the bench for them, but Sergio Aguero, of course, will do a fine job up front, no doubt. Ball is played in behind, and this is lovely football from Manchester City, and he could open the scoring, but Bernardo Silva shoots wide. I think he reckons that it took a deflection, as that build-up play down the left-hand side was really good. David Silva getting involved there. Shouts maybe of an offside as the ball was played back into the area. It did take a deflection. I'm not sure if it's one of those that VAR might look at. It definitely came off Nathan Ake. Corner kick is given nonetheless.
Yeah, you expect Bernardo Silva to be hitting the back of the net there, but he did put it on target, but only Nathan Ake was in the way and able to just flick the ball away. It's a corner for City.
Yeah, De Bruyne will take it. He drives it towards the edge of the box for Zinchenko, and now it's squared across. See a shot from distance from Kyle Walker, who apologises for getting it wrong, but he does win his side another corner kick. So we're just seeing City gradually building up ahead of steam in this game already. A couple of set pieces to their name. Kevin De Bruyne, his first corner kick was a little bit strange how he just delivered it to Alexander Zinchenko, but got another chance this time with an in-swinging effort over on the far side. De Bruyne puts his arm up in the air and then whips the ball into the box. It's headed on at the near post, and now it's just headed straight up in the air, but Bournemouth are able to clear it. Good turn from Josh King to get away from the challenge of Aguero, but he needs a bit of support. He is quick, but he's dispossessed by Bernardo Silva, who finds Aguero. Back to Bernardo. Here is Sergio Aguero, edge of the box. He just goes backwards slightly. Gundogan side foots it over to the far side for De Bruyne. De Bruyne looking for the crossfield ball to Bernardo, who heads it down for Sergio Aguero. Again, he just needs a bit of support. Gets it from Walker. His ball isn't the best really to David Silva. He tries to make something of it, but Nathan Ake can just clear it. Now potentially another counter-attack again for Bournemouth. You've got so much speed in this team. It's a tactic that they probably should adopt, but we are seeing City just starting to get back into the game and just asserting themselves as the side on the front foot.
Yeah, and unlike the previous corner, it was a brilliant corner routine this time to the front post, flicked on, but it was only Chris Mepham's head that was able to stop that one going anywhere near the goal. And then Bournemouth, as you say, trying to break going forward. Fraser headed it up towards Wilson, who claims for handball on Aymeric Laporte, but nothing happening on this occasion, and Manchester City able to regain possession and start to build from the back again.
Pep Guardiola looking on. He probably won't have been too happy with the way that his side have started this one, as Zinchenko has the throw-in over on the far side. Silva plays it back to him, and City don't want to get caught in an awkward situation. Zinchenko coolly heads it back into the box for Ederson, who bowls the ball out now to Kyle Walker. Chance for him to use his speed going forward, but the touch isn't great. Kyle Walker, again, it's a late challenge, and he is going to go in the book now, and perhaps that was deserved earlier on, but again, it's just really reckless from Kyle Walker. A player of his experience should be doing far better than that.
Absolutely, he's overtouched the ball as he's gone past King, and Ake stepped in there, just think the ball over him, and he has gone in there. There is a stud, it looks like, on the foot of Nathan Ake. I don't think it was really a stamp from Kyle Walker, but he was far too late into the challenge and couldn't even stop himself. As you say, it was reckless again.
Early stages at the Vitality Stadium, where it's Bournemouth 0, Manchester City 0, but it's not being dominated by the away side. Bournemouth, who didn't have a shot on goal when these two sides met at the Vitality last season, already righted that record inside a minute. Josh King picking up the ball from 25 yards out. It was a tame effort, but it was on target. City have had the best chance of the game so far, though. Lovely play down the left-hand side, combination which saw David Silva pull a ball back across into the box for Bernardo Silva, whose shot was charged down and out of play for a corner kick. Kyle Walker's picked up an early booking for a late reckless challenge on Nathan Ake. It's still goalless.
Manchester City in possession of the ball at the back. It's just played across to Kyle Walker on the near side. He just plays it back though to Nicholas Otamendi. Tries to play the ball through the middle. Good interception by Philip Billing, and now Bournemouth can try and break. Wilson can't quite get the ball under control as Ilkay Gundogan comes across to nick it back, but Bournemouth do just that once again. Billing once again can't give the pass off to a forward man, and Manchester City have the ball again. De Bruyne plays it to the right hand side. Good pressure by Ryan Fraser. Now Bernardo Silva up against Smith. He plays it down the line. Sorry, that was Daniels as the cross comes in from De Bruyne, blocked away by Charlie Daniels, and another attempt at a corner for Manchester City.
Yep, they've got another chance to get one from a set piece. De Bruyne again on this near side looking for the outswinger. Again, it's another training ground-esque routine. It's not the best executed, to be fair. It was Gundogan that put the ball back into the box from De Bruyne's set piece. It was kind of chipped into the box rather than taken with any full velocity, as Walker now has the ball on this near side. De Bruyne with an expert flick round the corner, but Bernardo fails to control it, and now Bournemouth get the ball back with Ryan Fraser, who knocks it down the touchline. Ederson's come a long way out from goal, and he's brought down Callum Wilson. It's right on this near touchline. I don't think there's any question that it can be a red card, because it's not a clear and obvious goal scoring chance, but what was Ederson thinking there? He's normally been such a reliable goalkeeper for Manchester City, but that was an awful decision for him to come out. He's been given a yellow card, and again City get away with one.
Absolutely, Callum Wilson was always going to win the ball first there. Ederson just running out of goal. It was almost as if he thought he's come halfway, he has to keep coming in case Wilson gets the ball and chips him, but he takes the man completely out of play. He's swung, and he's even caught Wilson around the hip with his knee. It's a stonewall yellow card and free kick. Ederson can't afford to be making any more mistakes like that.
No, he certainly can't, and again he is an eccentric goalkeeper who can occasionally be a bit rash, but you don't expect that of him. The free kick's delivered into the box, and Bournemouth still putting pressure on Man City as Arke just juggles the ball and then with his left foot scoops it well over the bar. But look at the example there of City not really clearing their lines too well. It's dodgy goalkeeping by Ederson, who went down to the ground, and City couldn't clear it.
Yeah, and it was Philip Billing who came running straight at Ederson there and is able to connect slightly with the ball. I think both of them may have even got a slight bit of contact on the ball, and eventually, of course, Ederson ends up on his back and Ake picks the ball up, takes a wild swing at it with a volley, but yeah, once again, a bit suspect from the Manchester City goalkeeper.
Yeah, certainly so. It wasn't great play from him. It's not been a great opening 14 minutes so far, and the fans of Liverpool already watching on, and they'll be delighted with the way that Bournemouth have started and the fact that City has started quite sloppily. But here they come down the left-hand side now. Zinchenko delivers one into the box. It falls to Sergio Aguero, who makes no mistake. A little bit of good fortune in that. Zinchenko played it into the box. It got a half touch on it from David Silva, fell into the path of Aguero from 8 yards out. He never makes a mistake.
He doesn't make a mistake. It's a left-footed strike, bottom left-hand corner. As you said, Dan, there was a bit of fortune, but good work from Manchester City. Good work to get the man free on the far side in Zinchenko. He pulls the ball back, and it's just the sheer amount of numbers in there for Manchester City gets the ball in the back of the net.
It's not been vintage Manchester City so far, but they've taken the lead at Bournemouth, and it's Sergio Aguero with a brilliant poacher's finish. Finally, they got some space free down the left-hand side. Zinchenko pulled it across. There was a shot at goal that was completely mishit, but miss it into the path of Aguero, who settled himself and then left-footed, side-footed it into the back of the net. Bournemouth 0, Manchester City 1.
And you look at chances like that, and fans of the rival teams of Manchester City may be thinking that's very lucky for them, and yes, there is a hint of luck in there, but you only get the luck if you pile a number of men into the box, which is exactly what Manchester City did. The ball fell to the perfect man in Aguero, and he picked his spot in the back of the net. This is a real tough ask now for Bournemouth. They've started this game pretty well. Manchester City not been too fluent so far, but uphill struggle for the home side.
Yeah, I mean, they're a team that tend to dominate so many games that as soon as they get the first goal, you almost give up against them. It's just that mentality that they can put in teams when they're playing against them. So, as you mentioned, a huge ask for Eddie Howe's side, who just don't seem to be able to get a break against the champions. They love coming here, and again, they've proven that the Bournemouth defence can be got at. It was a very good play from Zinchenko as the ball was delivered into the box, and then Aguero made no mistake whatsoever. What can Bournemouth do in response? Here is Fraser, who just turns into a bit of traffic, but Jefferson Lerma is able to come out, and the ball played across now. Adam Smith won't get there, though. Zinchenko felt that he didn't need to run too hard to try and get that one. It was a misplaced pass, and City can go back now. And it's just the mental side of the game when they play City. They've gone 1-0 down now, and automatically there's going to be the seed of doubt in the Bournemouth minds. They're going to sit back a little bit more now, trying not to concede that second goal, because it will end it as a meaningful tie, and City just have the ability to grind out teams that way.
Yeah, and Bournemouth have to take a bit of positives in the way that Tottenham played Manchester City, as the ball comes forward just about cleared by Bournemouth. But yeah, Tottenham were behind, then they levelled it up again. They were behind once again for the second time, and they levelled it up at 2-2. So it's one of those that Bournemouth have to look at that and think, we can do that as well. Yep,
certainly so, as Otamendi squares it now to Aymeric Laporte. Forward now into Ilkay Gundogan, and Otamendi on the ball once more. City just slowing the pace of the game down. Can't go at 100 miles an hour for the full 90. Here is Bernardo, who established himself as one of City's most important players last season, particularly in big games. Bernardo Silva, with his sheer work ethic, as the ball's played forward, it nearly releases Raheem Sterling. Don't think it was meant for him, but Bournemouth players didn't get there. Ramsdale comes out from his goal though, and he's able to claim it. That's been a position of contention really during the summer for Bournemouth, that of the goalkeeper. It doesn't seem like Asmir Begovic has much of a future. Artur Boruc is going to be 40 next year, and Ramsdale's come in. They've got the young Irishman Mark Travers in the squad as well, and good chance for him to try and build his reputation, build his confidence, become the number one choice.
Absolutely, there's no point in just sticking with the old guns if you've got some young players that have got potential underneath them ready to step in. So Ramsdale, one of those that has been trying to establish himself so far this season, not had a clean sheet yet so far this season, but before this game he did have an 80% save record, which you have to say will be one of the higher percentages in the league.
Yeah, it's certainly a good record to have. He has played at England youth level before, the under 21s and under 20s. Bournemouth now have a throw in on the far side. Adam Smith just inside his own half, looks to get some height and some distance on the throw, but Callum Wilson is swarmed by several City bodies now. I mentioned about Callum Wilson earlier. He probably is going to get a little bit isolated now, particularly if the likes of Josh King and Ryan Fraser aren't making runs beside him.
Yeah, and it told last night as well in the Liverpool-Arsenal game. Liverpool had a lot of possession and eventually it tired Arsenal out by the end of the game, and that's what Manchester City do to teams. They just hold on to the ball, make you move from side to side, and it completely tires you both mentally in terms of concentration and physically in getting back in position.
De Bruyne now with the outside of his foot to Bernardo Silva. Silva gets it on his left, tries to cross one into the box. It's chested down by Aguero. He then finds Zinchenko, crosses it back into the box, headed up in the air and volleyed towards goal. Good save by Ramsdale. I think it came from David Silva, the volley towards the Bournemouth goal. Ramsdale was able to get down low and parry the ball away, and Bournemouth have cleared it once again. But it's great football by City and a very audacious attempt. Certainly it was going on target, and Ramsdale needed to get there, and another good chance for City.
Yeah, he's done really well there, Ramsdale, through bodies to be able to spot the ball and dive to his right hand side. It was good play though from Sergio Aguero. Manchester City looked as if they were in and it didn't quite work, so Aguero just kept a cool head, regurgitated the ball, it came back to Zinchenko and eventually fell to David Silva. It was on his weaker foot, so maybe not enough power to get past Ramsdale.
De Bruyne plays the ball, looking for Kyle Walker, using his pace to get in the box, but Ramsdale just gets it clear. I think it must have taken a touch off Kyle Walker last, because it's gone out for a goal kick. Just have another look at that effort, swinging volley from David Silva. As you mentioned, it is on his weaker right foot, but he certainly got good contact behind it, just not quite enough power and not quite enough direction. It was probably one of those saves that maybe looks better on first glance than what it actually was. Quite routine in the end, but still a save he had to make.
He was a few yards off his line as well, which cut down the angle really and meant he didn't have to dive as far. It's like the penalty rule that had just come in this season where the keepers have to stay on the line, but you have to say David Silva, considering that's his weak foot, it's brilliant technique.
Yeah, it certainly is. Already had 7 attempts on goal, Manchester City, 2 of them on target. Bournemouth though wrestle the ball back near the City corner flag on the far side. They've won a throw in, so that draws some applause from the home fans as Josh King battles on the corner flag to try and keep Bournemouth in this game, try and help get them the equaliser. It would be a sweet moment for Josh King if he could score, because he is of course a former trainee at Manchester United. Steve Cook has the ball in his hand. It's going to be a long throw-in into the box. They probably do have a bit of a height advantage to Bournemouth. Not really a side you associate with too much height, but particularly the acquisition of Phil Billing in midfield. It's played across now and a strike on goal. It goes wide in the end from Chris Mepham. The offside flag had gone up regardless, but it's almost as if Bournemouth, in some ways, they're going to have to forget their philosophy and just try and play a bit more direct against City, because it's the only way really they're going to compete with them.
Absolutely. There's not. You mentioned that Bournemouth are not a team known with height, but Manchester City certainly aren't. Their front players are all pretty short. I mean, De Bruyne is considered one of the taller players in their team, which is pretty remarkable really. So when they get in those positions, they have to make use of the height advantage.
Here is Nicholas Otamendi just ambling forward once again. Now Walker picked up that early booking, so Bournemouth, when they do attack, they're going to have to try and go down City's right hand side as much as they possibly can. Otamendi, now Laporte, cross to Walker. Those three just playing their own game at the moment before Walker goes forward. De Bruyne, a little bit of a loose pass, but Silva is able to force the throw in, and he heads back now to Walker. Cross to Laporte, and this is what City are so good at. Bournemouth, though, they're not calling their bluff at the moment, but City come forward. Aguero shapes to shoot, but instead lays it off, and it's going to be De Bruyne who'll get the strike at goal, but Bournemouth looking disciplined enough. They've got defensive bodies back, and now Charlie Daniels will play a long ball up to Callum Wilson, who has to try and hold those. It's easy enough in the end for Aymeric Laporte, and Kyle Walker can gather the ball again. Yeah,
there was pressure on Ryan Fraser at the back to be able to get the ball clear. He played a nice ball to Charlie Daniels, but he had no option just to hoist the ball long, and Callum Wilson's got a long battle ahead of him if he's going to battle all day for those headers against Aymeric Laporte.
Still Bournemouth 0, Manchester City 1, and City could have doubled their advantage. It was a move started off by Sergio Aguero. He played the ball to Alexander Zinchenko on the left-hand side. He then whipped a cross into the box. It was half cleared by Bournemouth, and then swivelling on the volley, right-footed, was David Silva. He forced a good save from Aaron Ramsdale. Bournemouth just struggling to compete at the moment. They do look like they're going a little bit more direct than they usually do to try and compete with City, but so far it's not really working. It's Bournemouth 0, Manchester City 1.
David Silva just plays the ball backwards into midfield to Nicolas Otamendi. He's brought the ball out from the back. There's a slight challenge in the middle on Bernardo Silva, but David Silva continues the pressure, and it's Charlie Daniels down the left hand side looking to try and get the ball clear, has to knock it down the line, goes out for a throw-in. Brilliant pressing from Manchester City. We were originally claiming for a free kick on the edge of the box. It was just a slight touch into the back of Bernardo Silva from Nathan Ake. May have been just a soft one, but of course Manchester City have the ball once again. Zinchenko gives it left over towards Raheem Sterling. We've not seen too much of him so far in this opening 25 minutes. Just played across the back from Otamendi into Laporte. Switched out to the left once again. Zinchenko, there's a ball down the line is the option, but he turns to go backwards under pressure. Manchester City hold on to the ball once again. De Bruyne chips the ball forward, not 100% sure where he was looking, maybe towards Walker on the right hand side.
Yeah, I think that's where he was looking. It's a really poor ball, uncharacteristic for Kevin De Bruyne, but this is what Manchester City have got to deal with in a way. They've got to get used to breaking down teams who are going to camp men behind the ball even, and look to go on the counter-attack. There's so much pace in the Bournemouth side that it is a potential route towards goal for them. Knocked up now to Callum Wilson, and just a bit of head tennis ensues. But we are nearly 26 minutes into the game. It's Bournemouth 0, Manchester City 1, and it will be Matt to take us through to half-time.
Cheers, Dan. As it was a long ball up to Wilson once again. He thought he'd taken it down. He was flicked into the air. Billing tried to support. He was only able to flick the ball out wide, and eventually it went out for a corner. But good pressure from Bournemouth down the right hand side, cleared eventually by Zinchenko. Comes into the feet now of Ake, under pressure from Aguero. Just plays it back towards Ramsdale. Ramsdale under pressure, just able to squeeze the ball clear. Knocks it into touch before Aguero was just running onto that one, but I'm sure he was stomach was in his mouth for a second.
Yeah, it's risky business that for Bournemouth, as Ramsdale took one touch. He knew that Aguero was charging him down, and he could only clear it into touch. And it's little moments like that that'll give Manchester City hope. They'll be pushing on Ramsdale now, because they'll assume from just that one clearance that he's not the most comfortable on the ball, and it could lead to problems for Bournemouth.
Good, as Manchester City have the ball in a tight space in midfield. Gundogan up to Aguero, then flicked through by Silva towards Sterling, inside the box on his left foot, just dribbles the ball wide. Eventually I think the offside flag has come up on the near side for the run on the far side. But good move from Manchester City, just clicking through the gears.
Yeah, certainly so. It's lovely one-touch football between the attacking players. Sterling had just drifted off. He has been pretty quiet so far, Raheem Sterling, but he's one of those players that's so explosive. In just one moment of quality, he could get the second goal single-handedly. Absolutely,
and he has a great record against Bournemouth. In the last 7 Premier League games against Bournemouth, he's been directly involved in 10 goals. So more goals that he's been involved with than the actual games, which is a pretty good record. As Bournemouth has the ball coming forward up towards Wilson, intercepted though by Otamendi. Plays the ball short to Gundogan, then to Zinchenko, back now towards Ederson. Ederson under pressure from Wilson, decides not to play the ball, just goes short to Laporte. Laporte looking to go forward, finds De Bruyne in space in midfield. He whips it round the corner really nicely, comes into the feet of Bernardo Silva, then gives it to David Silva. Walker's running down the right hand side, and he will receive it, the England international. He looks forward, gives it backwards though to David Silva. Aguero's playing on the shoulder, points towards the goal for a run, but Manchester City play the ball left. Now with Gundogan, back to Zinchenko. Look how high Laporte and Otamendi are here. They're so far into the Bournemouth half. De Bruyne tries to play a ball through to Aguero, almost intercepted. But eventually De Bruyne wins the ball back and Manchester City just slow it down for a second. Laporte threaded ball through to Aguero, edge of the box, looks to shoot, left foot, takes a strike at goal, deflected, almost falls to David Silva, and eventually the referee points for a goal kick. That almost fell perfectly for the Spaniard.
Yeah, again, there would have been some fortune to it. It's a lovely through ball from Laporte to Sergio Aguero, who's just standing off the Bournemouth defenders. They're not getting close enough. You give him a yard of space and he's got the ability to wriggle away and get the ball into a shooting position. This time on his left foot once again. He struck it towards goal. I think it must have taken a deflection off a teammate because, as you mentioned, a goal kick was given. But certainly they're looking really dangerous now, City.
They are. They're certainly working their way into domination of this game. Headed out by Zinchenko from the goal kick. Comes to Jefferson Lerma though. Then back to Mepham. Mepham plays it short in towards Billing. Under pressure, chips the ball calmly. Really nicely done over towards Nathan Ake. Daniels is under pressure on this side, so he plays the ball long. It's Chester attempted to by Otamendi. Claimed maybe by Callum Wilson for handball, but Manchester City play on. Play the long ball up towards Sterling. But that one will dribble all the way through to Ramsdale. The game just speeding up a touch at the moment. As Bournemouth have it on the right hand side with Adam Smith. He wants to stand on the ball though and play it backwards towards Mepham. Bournemouth trying to hold a bit of possession for the moment. Cook plays it back to Mepham into the middle towards Philip Billing. Billing looks to come outside to this near side towards Ake, but eventually just goes back to Ramsdale on his left foot. Plays a nice little pass around the corner to Billing. Back to Cook. Cook looks down the right hand side. Long ball up towards King, then flicked on. Adam Smith trying to run onto it. Good header though. Good headers, should I say, between Gundogan and Laporte. Bring Manchester City clear, but it's won by Bournemouth. Left Lerma in the middle. Is he fouled there? No, he isn't, says the referee Andre Mariner. City coming forward. Left hand side now. Sterling in a little bit of space on the edge of the box. Looks to play the ball forward. Goes onto his left foot. Chips it inside. Hooked clear in the end by a Bournemouth foot. Then David Silva coming forward. Tries to flick the ball over the head. Mariner says no to the handball shouts. And now Bournemouth coming out once again. Lerma on the ball looking forward. Switches the play from right to left. Bit of space for Daniels. Eventually put under pressure by Walker. Gives it back to Philip Billing. Into the middle to Lerma. Lerma lays it off for Billing once again. Advantage played by Andre Mariner. Fraser makes a run. So does Daniels down the left hand side. Walker's covering a cross. First time cross. Otamendi blocks it away and Walker is just able to flick the ball out for a throw-in, but good work from Bournemouth.
Yeah, very good work as they were able to use the wide area as well. A bit of concern, Charlie Daniels gone down after putting that cross into the area, and he does look to be in quite a lot of discomfort. He's pounding the ground. Now, I don't know if maybe he's landed a little bit awkwardly on his knee. We'll just have another look. It was great play in the midfield, a lovely turn. Andre Mariner played an excellent advantage because it was clearly a foul. Daniels in space. The sheer speed of Kyle Walker forced him to put the ball in early. I think he's overstretched something as we just have another look. And yeah.
I think it looks to me as if it's a ligament injury. He's put his right foot, standing foot down. It's like kind of clicked from right to left as it's gone underneath him. Doesn't look nice. I think his day's over.
Yeah, it looks like it could be. I mean, they do have a natural replacement on the bench in Diego Rico, but yeah, it would be a big blow for Bournemouth to lose Charlie Daniels. Of course, he's such a long-serving player, but he still has the quality to compete at this level, and it's just one of those horrible ones, really, where players are just so committed. He's stretching with all his might to be able to get the ball into the box. He's down on the ground. His knee's been stretched by the physio, and I'm with you. I think it looks like a bad injury. It's just the way that his left knee kind of lands.
Yeah, and Bournemouth already have so many injuries as well. If I reel off a list, they've got Gosling, Brooks, Francis, Kelly, Stanislas, Danjuma and Lewis Cook, who's only just come back to training, all injured. And of course Adam Smith's had his plenty of time out with knee injuries in the past. It's not really looking good for Bournemouth at all. I mean, they're already pretty stretched in terms of having enough players on the bench and still receiving treatment. Charlie Daniels just holding his right shin. The medical staff member is just holding his leg in place, and Harry Wilson we're seeing shots of at the minute. It'd be surprised to me if Harry Wilson comes on, because he's not much of a left full back. I have to say he's very much attack minded. Is Wilson, of course, the man from Liverpool. But you'll still wait to see who will be coming on. Charlie Daniels, eventually the stretcher comes across. Doesn't look like he's in any pain at the minute. He was at first, he was slamming the ground as you said, but it looks as if things have settled.
Yeah, it's one of those really where Harry Wilson is coming on just to break off. Yeah, so I mean, Harry Wilson is a wide player, and I suppose having 3 defenders at the back, it will give him a bit more licence to move forward. But I am surprised, and it's not really a vote of confidence for Diego Rico, the fact that he's been kept on the bench.
Absolutely, it may be a case of they may go to a flat back 4 now with Ake at left back. That's maybe the way they go for, but that would completely change the system they've probably been working on all week in terms of this 3 at the back, as Daniels is going to be put on the stretcher and will unfortunately have to leave the field with injury. It does not look good whatsoever. He's not at the moment receiving anything in terms of oxygen or anything like that, but just the sheer amount of staff members that have come on to sort Charlie Daniels and the amount of time he has been on the ground would suggest that it could be a long-term injury rather than something just short-term. Yeah, it will be interesting to see now Bournemouth how they will set up. They've got 2 central midfielders in Billing and Lerma, 3 forward players in terms of King, Wilson, Fraser, and now Harry Wilson coming on as well as Callum Wilson. So maybe a 4-4-2? Would Bournemouth do that?
I think maybe a 4-2-3-1. I think you can push Nathan Ake to left back, use Adam Smith as a more conventional right back. You've got Lerma and Billing in midfield, and then you potentially have a 3 in behind Wilson of King, Fraser and Harry Wilson, and there's certainly a lot of variation there. I think you'd probably play Wilson in the middle more than Fraser or King, because those two have just got that blistering pace that you want out wide. But there are options available to Eddie Howe, but this is a huge disappointment. Daniels looks like he's got his hands over his face, and I don't think that's pain. I just think that's realisation that this is a serious injury.
Yeah, it certainly is, as everyone at the Vitality Stadium rises to their feet to clap the efforts of Charlie Daniels. Huge disappointment that he has to leave the field. We're only just into the 36th minute at the moment, and already Bournemouth forced into a change, and it's one of those that Bournemouth now have got a very attacking lineup on the field, but they'll certainly have to run their miles to cover this Manchester City side that were sort of building into the game. It did at that moment that Charlie Daniels got injured, that it did start evening out, but yeah, disappointment for Bournemouth.
Heading towards half-time at the Vitality Stadium, where it's still Bournemouth 0, Manchester City 1, but we've just had a long break in play because Charlie Daniels, the Bournemouth left-back, looks like he's sustained a serious-looking knee injury. It was actually from a Bournemouth attack, Andre Mariner waving play on. The ball was released to Daniels on the left-hand side, and as he went to put a cross into the box, he just overstretched himself, collapsed very awkwardly on his knee, and he's been stretchered off. Much to the disappointment of Eddie Howe. It is an attacking change that he's made, though. He's brought on Harry Wilson in his place, goal scorer from last week, as they try and get back into this game. It's Bournemouth 0, Manchester City 1.
And from the throw-in that Bournemouth did have, they launched it long up towards Nathan Ake from Steve Cook. He just about got a flick on the ball, but fortunately for Manchester City, it just bounced straight into the hands of their goalkeeper Edison. Nothing of any worry for the away side at that particular point. As Manchester City have the ball once again, Otamendi just plays it short to Laporte. He tried to go forward, but he was under pressure. Goes left to Zinchenko. First time ball inside, won though by Chris Mepham. Then a long ball comes forward. Wilson towards Callum Wilson. Harry with the former, should I say, but the ball will dribble out of play on the far side for a throwing kick taken quickly by Manchester City. Inside to Gundogan. Looks forward, he's looking for an option, but De Bruyne is backpedaling inside the centre circle. Gives it right towards Kyle Walker. Bit of space in front of him to run into. Feeds the ball inside. Good interception, no, by Nathan Ake. Ake looks forward up towards Josh King now. King running down the left hand side. Walker cuts back to track him. Fraser on the overlap. Wilson inside. Wilson just can't quite take control of the ball. As it now comes to Lerma. Lerma outside, left hand side now, left flank to Fraser, inside to Josh King, cuts inside on his right foot, chips the ball far post. It's Zinchenko just able to reach that one and just head the ball over his own back. It's now towards Harry Wilson on the far side, looking to create something. Left footed cross into the box. It's chested down, comes to a Bournemouth man, and it's knocked over the bar. And I think it was Adam Smith running in there on the far side. It was his weaker left foot he took the strike with, and I'm not sure too sure what's happened there, but it may have taken a nick from a Manchester City player.
Well, first of all, it's brilliant play from Harry Wilson, who's certainly come into this game very quickly. He put the ball into the box, and again it's just that indecision at the back between Ederson and Nicholas Otamendi. He chested it down. Smith probably should have scored, but it did take a nick.
Corner taken into the box. It's just grabbed by Ederson. I think the original save did come from Ederson, but Manchester City now coming on the counter-attack. It's De Bruyne up towards Aguero. Brilliant interception from Jefferson Lerma, and he's able to slow possession down just for this moment. And it looks to me, Dan, as if Ryan Fraser has slotted in at left-back for that position for Charlie Daniels. As the ball does get knocked down that line, as Otamendi will try and pick it up and leave it for a goal kick, but I think Fraser has filled in that left-back position.
Yeah, I think that makes more sense. He's the sort of player who can bring that blistering pace out wide. Wilson's more tricky on the ball rather than someone that's just a natural speedster. We'll just have another look at this Adam Smith effort, and it's great play, you've got to say, by Nicholas Otamendi, because I've no idea what he was doing first of all, chesting it down in the box. There should have been more communication between himself and Ederson. It didn't work out like that, but he did get across very quickly to stop the ball going in the back of the net.
Yeah, and the left-footed shot from Smith, it may have even taken a nick off the head of the goalkeeper as the ball comes up from Bournemouth, headed away, or attempted to, by Laporte, then cleared. Lerma comes in to win the ball back. It's a tackle between him and Kyle Walker. It's deflected away. Lerma grabs his knee in a bit of pain, maybe just caught a follow-through, accidental follow-through of Kyle Walker. Lerma then plays it right towards Mepham. Lerma hits the deck as he's under pressure. Over towards Adam Smith, looks inside now for Billing. Billing back to Mepham. Mepham back to Steve Cook. Cook across to Nathan Ake. Ake just able to hold the ball and give it to Lerma. Lerma looks to spread the play to the far side. His pass, though, goes in between Callum Wilson and Harry Wilson, and it's easily headed back by Zinchenko. But Bournemouth have certainly come into this game in the last 20 minutes or so and given all they've got.
Yeah, they certainly have, and I don't think Pep Guardiola will be too impressed with what he's seen from his side so far. They've allowed Bournemouth to have too much of the ball, and in turn Bournemouth, we know they've got a very talented lineup. They're able to get forward, and I think defensively as well, that there's been a lot of indirection really. Ederson's not played well. He's looked very rash coming out from his goal line. Laporte's had a good game, but Otamendi also looks almost like a bit of an accident waiting to happen.
Manchester City with the ball on the left hand side, intercepted though by Adam Smith. It goes out for a throw-in. Zinchenko will go over there to take it, throws it backwards towards Laporte, just inside the Bournemouth half. Square to Otamendi. Otamendi looked right towards Walker, but Josh King had covered that route. Josh King incidentally has switched over to the left wing, which has left Harry Wilson on the right wing, which is where that cross came from earlier, which created that chance as Laporte takes a poor touch. So does Otamendi, almost being jumped on by Bournemouth as Josh King puts Kyle Walker under pressure. Eventually Walker just turns his back, puts his body between the man and the ball, is able to win a free kick from the on-rushing King, but certainly not neat and tidy from Manchester City at the back, and that's allowing the Bournemouth pressure.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I think when you do have Otamendi at the back, he's not quite as good a ball player as John Stones, so sometimes he can get caught out a little bit. This is where City need to try and create now as the ball is brought inside. Sterling, he finds one into the box, and Manchester City have doubled their advantage, and it's Raheem Sterling once again. That's what City can do. They're absolutely blistering when they want to be. It started out from Bernardo on the right, brought in for Sterling to finish. Yeah,
it was Silva to Silva in the middle, and David II was able to flick the ball through, and you have to say it's a good touch from Raheem Sterling inside the box. We just see it now as David Silva flicked it through to Sterling. Good left-footed touch. The keeper Ramsdale came out, but nothing he could do to stop the England attacker.
2-0 is perhaps harsh on Bournemouth, but it's exactly what Manchester City can do. They've doubled their advantage. Raheem Sterling scoring once again this season, his 5th Premier League goal already. Bernardo Silva picked up the ball on the right-hand side. He fed one infield for David Silva, who turned on a sixpence and then just slipped one through for Raheem Sterling, who timed his run to perfection in the box, and he stabbed it past Aaron Ramsdale. Bournemouth 0, Manchester City 2.
And you have to say, unfortunately for Bournemouth, all the chances for Manchester City today have come from the Bournemouth right-hand side, with Smith and Meppen, the youngster, of course, not able to help his team and stop the flip through from David Silva. But nonetheless, it's brilliant work from Manchester City. Take nothing away from them as Laporte has the ball at the back once again with possession. And after that first goal, Bournemouth certainly didn't lose heart. They worked their way back into the game and even created chances of their own, but 2 goals down, you have to feel for them, and they're really going to struggle to get back in this game, you would have thought now, Dan.
Yeah, it's going to be nigh on impossible, and it is so harsh on them, really. I think a fair reflection of the score would have been had it stayed 1-0. 2-0 is flattering City at the moment, but we keep mentioning, to be a top team you've got to be ruthless when it matters, and City have been. They've not created a great deal, but the opportunities they have created, they've taken well. And when you've got players that are in such a rich vein of form like Aguero and like Sterling, it's hard to stop regardless of how well they're playing on the day.
Yeah, it's ruthless, it's clinical, it's Pep Guardiola all over. Gundogan plays it short to Bernardo Silva, tries to play it through Ake's legs up towards Aguero. Intercepted though, and now with Josh King on the left hand side under pressure from Gundogan, flicks the ball through Kyle Walker's legs. He's able to hold on to the ball, having to go backwards, but brilliant work from Aguero, able to nick the ball back with Gundogan once again. Sterling looks left, finds Zinchenko, looks inside and finds Gundogan, into David Silva, return ball, quick passing in the middle of the park. And now out on the left hand side for Manchester City, attempted ball down the line from Sterling to Zinchenko. Good work though by Adam Smith to win the ball back. Harry Wilson looks to go down the line. He has to go backwards to Smith, and then eventually he just clears it up long towards Wilson. He battles against Laporte, and Zinchenko isn't able to win the ball back, but the ball comes long from Manchester City, headed down the line by Adam Smith. A chance for Bournemouth to come forward now on the far side, as we see the board go up for 6 minutes at a time. Harry Wilson on the far side, inside on his stronger left foot, tries to play a ball through. Good interception from Otamendi. Then Lerma nicks the ball off the feet of Bernardo Silva. Fraser on the near side in plenty of space, cuts back on his stronger right foot, plays it back towards Lerma square to Billing under pressure on his left foot now, plays the ball, or tries to the left hand side, intercepted as Steve Cook comes rushing out, plays the ball against Aguero, and it goes deflecting out on this near side towards Ryan Fraser. Fraser was in loads of space there on the left hand side as he came forward, but the problem is he's right footed and he has to cut back to cross it.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, even just not having the confidence to pick the ball up on the left foot, not even play a pass, but just run with it down that side. As you mentioned, he is all right-footed, and City have wised up to that. It is going to be difficult for him to get really involved in this game. Now he's stuck on this flank again. He's just laid a simple ball off back to Nathan Ake, whereas if he was on the opposite flank, he'd receive it and then start running. Good
ball though from Ake in behind the Manchester City defence up towards Wilson. Wilson flicks it over his head into King on the edge of the box. He tries to flick it over the head of, I think it was De Bruyne coming back in there, claims for handball, referee says no. In the middle of the park now is Meppen. He comes forward, ball up towards Wilson, he goes down about 5 yards out from the edge of the box under a challenge from Laporte. Free kick to Bournemouth.
Yeah, and it's in a really good shooting position potentially for them. They do have players that are very capable from this sort of range. We saw Harry Wilson cracking a few for Derby last season. Phil Billing can take a different kind of free kick because he does have a thunderous right boot on him. Ryan Fraser will fancy it as well, so will Josh King. There's plenty of variety for this set piece. I think it is just a little bit left of centre, so it'll suit the right footer more, but I don't think that's going to concern Harry Wilson too much. He really looks like he fancies this.
Absolutely. He turned up, of course, to Old Trafford with Derby last season and thundered one into the top left-hand corner. Now he can do it to the other Manchester City side. He will be thinking as Edison tries to sort his wall out. Lerma is just hovering on the left-hand side of the ball as if he's going to play a right-footed shot, but it looks to me as if he's just a decoy for the moment. Harry Wilson, The young Welshman does stand over the ball. He comes up to it, left-footed, strikes it top right-hand corner. And
Oh!
brilliant strike! What a finish from Harry Wilson. Once again from a free kick. He finds the top corner, and nothing that Edison could do about that.
Bournemouth have halved the deficit, and it's one of the goals of the season already from Harry Wilson, who's really developing a reputation from set pieces. Bournemouth won a free kick around 30 yards out. It was just left of centre, so it'd probably suit the right footer more, but Harry Wilson, confident as he is, stepped up with his left foot and he bends it right into the top far corner. Ederson had absolutely no chance. Bournemouth back in the game, 2-1.
And he went to the keeper's side, but that is absolutely postage stamp from Harry Wilson. He's put it right in the top right hand corner. It's flicked the inside of the post as it's gone in. It's a wonderful strike from the youngster, and that brings Bournemouth back into the game. It's now only 2-1 to Manchester City. Of course, 2-0 before that. That's a brilliant time to score as well. Eddie Howe will be mightily chuffed with that goal, of course, only having to bring Harry Wilson on because of the injury to Callum Wilson. Now Bournemouth are only one down at the break, and something for Bournemouth to work to in the second half.
Yeah, and it's Harry Wilson really saying to Eddie Howe, why did you drop me? Because it does seem a little bit strange that he scored the goal against Aston Villa last week and he was left out of the lineup today. But what a free kick that was. As you mentioned, it is postage stamp stuff, and it's just one of those free kicks where, as an opposition goalkeeper, you've just got to say well done, because there was no chance he was saving it.
Steve Cook runs the ball out from the back, gives it to Josh King on the left hand side, tries to flick it inside Walker, but Walker was just about alive to it, and the ball went too far into the box and found only Nicholas Otamendi. Manchester City on the ball once again. 6 minutes of added time. We've had around about 4.5 of those as Manchester City have the ball at the back with Aymeric Laporte just jogging the ball towards the halfway line. Billing puts some pressure on them. Wilson does on Zinchenko on the left hand side. Ball inside now towards David Silva. He goes down under a challenge from Lerma. He looks as if he's hurt, maybe his right hip there as Lerma has come in, but it will be a free kick to the away side. A bit sore for David Silva.
Yeah, I think what I like about Bournemouth's midfield this season is we've accused them in the past of being a bit of a soft touch in there, but with Jefferson Lerma and Phil Billing in now, I know Lerma can pick up a lot of yellow cards, as can Billing, but they do have a bit more bite and a bit more tenacity in that midfield, and when they get Lewis Cook back to fitness, that's an excellent midfield for them to have. And it's why they can compete more with these sides as they put a cross into the box, City, but it's headed over the bar by Nicholas Otamendi from that ensuing free kick. And that's probably going to be the last chance of the first half.
Probably, and Bournemouth are not happy about that as Lerma went down on the edge of the box under a challenge from Otamendi. It looked as if he'd maybe pushed him. The ball came in from Bernardo Silva. Otamendi could only head the ball over the far side of the net. And Ramsdale will take plenty of time to take this goal kick. He'll be happy conceding two goals. He'll be happy to see his team have pulled one back in this first half as we clock over the 6 minutes of added time. 51 minutes played in this first half. You don't see that too often, and that is the end of the half for Andre Mariner. And at the break it is 1-2 to Manchester City away at Bournemouth at the Vitality Stadium.
Right, so it's half time. It's 2-1 to Man City. If you are going to lead the stream now, since it's half time, make sure to come back in about 15 minutes for the second half. But the goals were from Aguero, Sterling and Wilson. Well, Harry Wilson, not Callum Wilson. But we're going to look at the match stats. We're going to read through the player ratings, and then we'll look at the league table as it stands. So start off with the match facts. So Man City have 71% possession, Bournemouth have 29%. Man City have 11 shots, Bournemouth have 5. Man City have had 3 shots on target, Bournemouth have had 4 shots on target. And 3 corners for Man City and 4 for Bournemouth. So Man City being the better side. They're only winning by 1 goal though. We'll look at the player ratings now. I'll have to get them up here. Right, so Ramsdale has a 6.1 rating, Kirk has a 6.4, Ake has a 7.2, Metham has a 6.5, Smith has a 6.2, Daniels has a 6, but he's come off injured. King has a 6, Lerma has a 6.3, Billing has a 6.6, Fraser has a 6.3 and Wilson has a 6.5, so Ake best Bournemouth player. And the Man City rating, do you know, Leicester, Harry Wilson, who's replaced Charlie Daniels, has a 7.2, so him and Ake the best players on the pitch. And Wilson's only been on there for about 15 minutes, so that's quite impressive. But for Man City, Ederson has a 6.4, Otamendi has a 6.2, Walker has a 6.3, Laporte has a 6.7, Zinchenko has a 7.1, Gundogan has a 7, De Bruyne has a 6.8, Silva has a 7.4, Bernardo Silva has a 7, Sterling has a 7.3 and Aguero has a 7.3, so Silva the best player for Man City. There's quite a few decent players. Right, we'll look at the league table as it stands. So Man City will move up to 2nd on 7 points. Bournemouth will stay at 8th. If they concede another goal, then they'll drop down. Right, let me get the chart. Right, we've got the chart. Top scorers, Sterling is now on 5 goals because he's scored. But that hasn't updated. Aguero's gone on to 3 goals. Wilson on to 2 goals. That goal from Bournemouth, probably goal of the month. free kick from where he's standing here into that top corner where the mouse is. Alright, let's go on lineup. So, yellow cards for Walker and Edison. And then the substitute Harry Wilson on for Daniels. I'm going to try and see what formation Bournemouth are playing now. So they've subbed off a left back and now they'll probably play like... Okay, I don't even know. They're playing somebody in left back. I don't even know what they're playing. They'll play 4 at the back and then... I don't know. I have no idea what their formation they're playing, to be completely honest. But we've got 11 people in here. We've gained 1 subscriber today. Our goal for the end of the day is 1,540 subs. So if you can help me hit that, that would be great. Should be able to do that. Let's see, first half finished around 8 minutes ago. So the second half should start in about another 8 minutes. We'll look at other half-time scores around everywhere else. So Rangers v St Mirren finished 1-0. Celtic v Hearts is about to start. Swansea won 3-0 against Birmingham. And then Leipzig are beating Frankfurt 1-0. Monaco beating Nims on Nimes, not sure how to pronounce that, but they're winning 2-0. And these are all just random-ish leagues. We'll look at the game we're doing straight after this. Once, actually no, at 4 o'clock I'll start a stream for this. I'm going to do commentary for it. We'll look at all the match facts and stuff once we do this stream, but I'm going to be doing that. Lineups come out in 29 minutes for this game. Same with this game, Wolves v Burnley. We'll see what happens in them games, but we're focusing on this game at the moment. I'll keep the match facts on there for about a minute. But welcome to the stream, Wellen_04. Not sure what to do for the next 5 minutes whilst we wait for the second half. We'll leave this on the screen. Tell you what we can do while we wait for the second half. I've got about 3 minutes till it starts. Hopefully it starts a bit quicker than that, but we're going to go on scores and fixtures for the Premier League next week. I'm going to either do commentary for Chelsea, Sheffield United or Man City, Brighton, so if there's any City fans in here that want to see that, then next Saturday I'll be doing commentary for that. And then Norwich v Man City, 14th September I'll do. Bournemouth v Everton I might do, I'm not too sure. We'll have to wait and see. And then Southampton Bournemouth on Friday 20th I'll do. Man City Watford I might do, but I'm not too sure. And then Everton Man City on this Sunday I'll do. So I have quite a few Bournemouth and Man City streams coming up. So if you want to see that, subscribe to the channel. So then you'll easily be able to find my streams when I do them. But anyway, second half starting now. I'm going to put the commentary back on. Hope you guys enjoyed the second half.
Well, we're back underway for the second half of this Premier League clash between Bournemouth and Manchester City. 2-1 to the champions at the break in what was a very interesting first half. Sergio Aguero and Raheem Sterling with the goals for City, but the goal that everyone's going to be talking about is this stupendous Harry Wilson free kick just a couple of minutes before the half-time whistle was sounded. 30 yards out, he bent it into the top corner, and that goal has really given Bournemouth a chance of getting back into this game. Now the Manchester City lineup is unchanged. Bournemouth had to make one change in the break. It was Wilson that came on for the injured Charlie Daniels, and even though he did get injured, what looked like quite a bad injury, it appears to have worked for Bournemouth. thus far. So the Bournemouth lineup is Ramsdale in goal with Smith, Mepham, Cook and Arke ahead of him, Lerma and Billing with Wilson, Fraser, King and Wilson. City have Ederson, who's been booked, Walker, who's been booked, Otamendi, Laporte, Zinchenko, De Bruyne, Gundogan, Silva, Bernardo Silva, Sterling and Aguero. Was some concern for Man City this time from an injury point of view early in this second half. Aymeric Laporte has gone down clutching his knee, but I think he looks like he's going to be okay. And myself, Dan McCarthy and Matt Guy taking you through the rest of this game. And Matt, I think when City scored the second goal, me and you thought that this game was over as a contest, but that Harry Wilson free kick has breathed new life into it.
Absolutely, and I think a one-goal deficit for Bournemouth in the at the half time was absolutely deserved. I don't think they deserved to be 2 goals behind. Yes, Manchester City dominated the possession, but they didn't create many chances at all, and it was those 2 really chances that they created that they scored from. Clinical nature of Manchester City scored from both chances, but yeah, I think a 1-goal deficit is certainly some life in this game. It should certainly be interesting. Bournemouth will still attack, so a lot to look forward to.
Certainly so, and they're trying to get on the front foot early in this second half, and Harry Wilson has taken the ball off Alexander Zinchenko. He just turns and tries to look for a run. He gets it in Adam Smith, who tries to run in towards the box. Wilson was brought down, but nothing given by the officials, and City still going forward. They've booted the ball out of play now because Wilson is on the ground, and Bournemouth players flooding around the referee Andre Marino. Just have to have another look at the replay of that. Great work initially from Wilson to take the ball off Zinchenko. He was just turning, he released the ball and he was clipped from behind by Raheem Sterling. I've no idea why he didn't think that was a free kick, to be honest.
Absolutely, Sterling has clipped him from behind, taking him completely out. Wilson played the ball forward. Maybe the referee thought, alright, I'll play advantage to Adam Smith here, but the ball, as soon as the ball went to Adam Smith, it rolled away from him, so that should have been pulled back by Andre Marino. Poor from him, and it's one of those Bournemouth will be screaming for every single free kick they can try and get because Harry Wilson's there.
Yeah, of course, they'll be wanting any sort of dangerous situation from that area. They'll be wanting a free kick, so they can just give licence for Harry Wilson to take another free kick, and he really is establishing himself as not just a great free kick taker, but Bournemouth's free kick taker, and overtaking some that have had that duty in the past. It is City that have the ball though, with Walker on the far side. It's a terrible ball in field. Otamendi just about gets enough to clear it, and the bounce of the ball outfox Lerma. He gives it away. Suddenly the game is stretched. David Silva goes forward to Sterling in the box. He should be getting up. It was Mepham that got across to defend that one well. It was a poor touch really from Sterling. No real appeal for the penalty, and just a rare lapse really from Sterling, and Silva played a good ball in. The touch was poor.
Yeah, brilliant play from Mepham, you have to say. He cut off the angle, so as soon as Sterling's touch went inside slightly, Mepham was always covering it. Never going to be a penalty there, but yeah, as you say, that break came from Lerma just being outfoxed by the ball. The bounce of it, it had a lot of spin on it, so it was quite unfortunate for him there, but yeah, it was one of those that he had to kind of jump into the ball to try and take it, but it was well nicked by Silva, and then he created the chance well.
Yeah, he certainly did, and now City look to go forward again. Here is David Silva on the ball. Sterling went down just ahead of him, but Silva waits to release the ball for Zinchenko, plays it back in field, and then gets it once more, but Andre Marino signalled for a free kick. City are just going to get on with the game anyway. Here is Otamendi. Now Aymeric Laporte, who's got up after going down early on, to Gundogan. Gundogan to Zinchenko. Low delivery into the box. Sterling turns and shoots. Parried away by Ramsdale and only half cleared as well. De Bruyne had a chance to shoot. Instead, he's going to go out wide to Zinchenko, who looks for the back post. And it's going to be headed towards goal by Bernardo Silva. It bounces up and over and out of play for a corner kick.
Yeah, it was so close there for Manchester City. Good work down the left-hand side once again. And then in the end, it just turns into a bit of a scramble. As you said, Dan, it was headed down well. Actually, I think it came off the shoulder of the man coming in at the far post, and eventually Sterling clattered into Cook there in the middle of the box, and eventually it squirmed clear. Yeah,
City with another corner kick. They had several of these, particularly early on in the first half. It's their 4th corner of the game. De Bruyne has been trusted with the delivery for all of them thus far. Got players in there They can't aim for. It's a deep corner once again by De Bruyne. Not the best delivery. Zinchenko is there though to help rescue it. He has to play it in field for Bernardo Silva. Silva just forced backwards to Laporte, and now Zinchenko. Here is Silva. Gundogan across to Sterling. Sterling looks to clip one towards the back post. It's just beyond all of the targets in there and out of play for a goal kick. I think Raheem Sterling could have maybe taken the shot on there.
Yeah, he maybe could. Maybe it was one of those that he didn't feel too confident with. For me, it was perfect for a left footer to try and put a curling out cross into towards the far post, but unfortunately it was Sterling there, so he just tried to stand it up. But Bournemouth watched it well and were able to watch it go completely out of play. But Manchester City once again just rolling through the gears, getting the quick passing going in midfield. But you have to say, De Bruyne has got to do better from the corners.
Yeah, he certainly does. They've not been great deliveries so far. 4 of them taken, and I think only one of them you'd describe as a good delivery as Bournemouth feed a ball through into the box now, and it's a great save from Ederson. Callum Wilson was able to get away from Nicolas Otamendi. It was a one-on-one opportunity, but Ederson kept himself big and prevented Bournemouth from getting the equalising goal.
Yeah, it's great work in midfield from Bournemouth, winning the play back. They played it through. I think it was Wilson to Wilson, not able to get a shot off, but Manchester City coming forward again.
Yeah, down the other end. Can they finish Bournemouth off? And it's put just wide of the side netting. Kevin De Bruyne, the man with the chance. He's got his hand on his face. He knows that he should have scored that one. Just laid it off to Aguero. De Bruyne shot, and the way that it kind of bounced and the net rippled, thought it was in the back of the net, but it went behind first. And like Wilson, De Bruyne should be scoring.
Absolutely, he's got to put that one on target. It's not as if the man in front of him, Mepham, was covering the angle off, because he certainly wasn't. It was definitely on. It was a great ball from Wilson, going back to that Bournemouth chance. Left-footed shot from Callum Wilson. But yeah, Ederson made himself mightily big and was able to stop it.
It's been an exciting start to this second half. It's still Bournemouth 1, Manchester City 2, but it could have been 2-2 or 3-1 depending on how you look at it. Bournemouth had the first great opportunity. Harry Wilson playing a ball through to Callum Wilson. It was a one-on-one chance. He managed to get away from Aymeric Laporte, but Ederson made himself very big and saved the effort straight down the other end. One-touch play between De Bruyne and Aguero, so Aguero reversed the ball back into Kevin De Bruyne, who from 12 yards out shot wide of the near post. It's an exciting game. It's Bournemouth 1, Man City 2.
Corner comes in for Bournemouth at the far side, but it's easily picked off by Ederson, and then Manchester City tried to break, but it's a tackle in the middle of the pitch. It was an overtouch by, I think it was Mepham in there. Did he catch Gundogan? Gundogan went down, but no, says the referee. It's now on the far side and taken down. I think it was Jefferson Lerma there. I think Sterling ran through the back of him. Lerma not happy. Stands him up after the foul is given, but ball played quickly by Bournemouth down the left hand side for Fraser.
Yeah, here they come once again. Here is Adam Smith. Can he shoot? Smith. No, he decides better of it to play it into Wilson. Wilson reverses a ball into the area, and the challenge is just made by Nicolas Otamendi, but the danger not over yet for Bournemouth. Fraser now to the back post. Ederson comes out and makes a Superman punch, and the ball goes behind for a corner.
Positive play from Bournemouth, certainly some life in them as they're coming forward again and again and again and stopping Manchester City really able to have any possession or security in midfield, and a good chance for Harry Wilson to put it in a corner from the near side. Yep,
Harry Wilson, whose set pieces have been outstanding. He's been outstanding since he came on for Charlie Daniels. That wasn't outstanding though. It was a poor corner kick headed away at the near post, but Bournemouth still looking to come forward once again. Ball is just bobbling around before City eventually clear it. Looking for De Bruyne, who gets away from the challenge. De Bruyne is still going forward. He's brought down by Jefferson Lerma. That's surely going to be a yellow card, and indeed Lerma, no stranger to being booked, gets another yellow. Yeah, I think he just lost his cool there after that previous Sterling challenge, and then De Bruyne running forward. He was always going to be taking the man, never going to be thinking about the ball, and he just completely took out the Belgian. Yep, so Lerma, who had around 15 bookings last season, he picked up a 3-match suspension towards the end of the campaign, and he's got another yellow once again. Now Sterling goes across to Gundogan. Here is Zinchenko back with Sterling. Zinchenko again feeds it inside for Laporte. City wanting to get another goal. This isn't a comfortable lead for them at the moment. Laporte tries to switch the ball across now to Bernardo Silva. It's headed out, and Bernardo Silva will take the throw-in quickly. Otamendi now in field for Laporte. Laporte's ball forward, seemed a bit limp, and it's cleared. Not very far though. Still going forward, Man City, but Bournemouth defending well. They're just doing all they can at the minute. City, as you expect, having more possession. Billing is able to get the challenge in, and Bournemouth can come forward from the back. Fraser knocks it forward again. That's just his lack of left foot, and he's struggled really over on that far side, as Ryan Fraser.
He has, yeah. He's not really been able to get up the field too many times, not been able to drag his team up with him either. It's just that natural left-footedness that will help on that far side, just like a right-footer on the right wing. And there's no surprise here, actually, as Manchester City really are making a change, and they do need to shore things up at the back.
Yeah, it's not often you see City making what you'd regard as conservative changes, but they're realising that they are starting to lose out on some of the battles in midfield, so they've brought off Ilkay Gundogan and brought on Rodri in his place, the major summer signing from Atletico Madrid, £62 million, the club record, and 62 million for a club like Man City doesn't seem like enough to be a club record, but they've spent their money very wisely over the years, and he'll come on and sit in that midfield role and just try to assert some dominance in there, and he wins his first challenge, which bounces all the way back now to Ederson. So Bournemouth will try again, and as you mentioned, it is a change that they needed.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Bournemouth on a few occasions, they're just running, when they win the ball back, they were running with at least 3 or 4 men straight at the Manchester City defence, and they are liable to a mistake or just some frailties sometimes, Manchester City at the back, but obviously Fernandinho down the years has been so solid at the back there for them. Rodri's performed well when he's come in this season, but yeah, I mean, Pep Guardiola went for this game in playing Gundogan from the start, but now he's realising, wait, the pace of Bournemouth, it really is a threat.
Yeah, it certainly is, and Rodri is probably viewed as the long-term successor to Fernandinho. That's why they had to pay so much money to get him, because we know how important the Brazilian has been. Here is Bernardo Silva drifting in from the right-hand side. He checks and turns back, and he's still going. Bernardo Silva gets a strike away, takes a big deflection, and Bournemouth can eventually clear it. But Bernardo Silva, he's probably been another one that's been a little bit quiet. He's had his good moments in this game. He's just one of those that you know exactly what he's going to do. He's predictable, but he does it so well that he's able to get away from defenders.
Yeah, you can't stop a player of his quality when he cuts in on his stronger foot. He is playing on the right wing, and he and Sterling's not done too much either in this game. He's just finished a couple of great opportunities and just linked things up on occasion, but them wide positions have been a bit quiet today.
Here is Sterling now on the left edge of the box. His cross takes a big deflection, and Bournemouth can get it away, but it's only hooked straight up into the air, and it's just bouncing round now. Rodri can't get on the end of it, and now Bournemouth have a chance to come forward to stretch their legs. Here is Josh King. He's got Wilson ahead of him, but it's a heavy touch from King, and City are eventually able to get the ball back. And now could they punish Bournemouth for not taking advantage? David Silva on the ball now. Silva goes across to Bernardo Silva. Here is David Silva. Sterling makes a run in the box, cuts it back for David Silva, who goes down. Again, no prospect really of a penalty kick. I don't think there was much of an appeal for him, but the game's just getting so stretched now. Absolutely
it is, and I said that the wide positions have been a bit quiet. Everything had gone down the middle really for Manchester City, but they're just flicking it wide. Good work between Sterling and Silva, but Andre Marida didn't look interested whatsoever for Manchester City's penalty shout there. Pep Guardiola really not happy on the sideline. He's arguing with the fourth official. We'll see a replay now.
Yeah, the ball went into the box. It was Jefferson Lerma on David Silva. We'll just have another look from the closer angles.
Slightly stood on his toe. I think he's made a meal of that, David Silva, for me.
Yeah, I think he's gone down a little bit theatrically. I don't know if we're getting a check from... We are getting a check from VAR about this penalty. And the fact that they are checking it always puts a seed of doubt. Looking at the challenge again from Lerma, he does stand on his toe. I think this is going to get reversed, and I think it's going to be given as a penalty.
Yeah, it may very well do, as we see the stop of the replay. The camera turns to Andre Marin. He tells all the Manchester City players to wave away. No decision, penalty. No penalty is the decision. Sorry.
Yep. So a little bit surprised at that. Almost. I mean, probably it didn't help that David Silva did make a meal of it, but I thought that there was clear contact with the foot from Lerma on top of the foot of Silva. So it's one of those really where it doesn't matter how much technology you have, and this is one of the sticking points of VAR. It's so subjective, because another referee who's sat at Stockley Park would have said that's a penalty kick.
Yeah, and it's one of those that he's been touched on his right foot, but he's jumped with his left leg first and his right leg, which is one of those things you hate in modern day football, that players always make the most of everything because they go down even when he could have stayed on his feet, and that's probably what swayed the decision for me.
Goal kick taken long now by Aaron Ramsdale, looking for King over on the far side, and King's going to try and wrestle with Walker, who riskily Cruyff turns, but he does it to good effect and plays the ball back inside now for Nicolas Otamendi. Aymeric Laporte to Alexander Zinchenko, and it's not the first time that Manchester City have been involved in a VAR call. All three of their Premier League games so far this season have involved VAR in some way or another, either in their benefit or not. De Bruyne now looking to find Zinchenko on the far side, and it's gone out for a throw-in right by the corner flag. Just have another look at this one once again. Lerma's foot almost planted on top of David Silva's, really. The more I see it, the more I'm actually surprised that with all the replays they've got at the hands, they didn't feel that was a penalty.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely not got the ball. He definitely has got the foot of David Silva. And just repeat, David Silva was about to put his left foot on the ground and stay on his feet as Manchester City come forward in the box once again.
Yeah, the ball wriggling around in there, and it's tapped into the back of the net, and Manchester City have got their third goal, and it's Sergio Aguero. Again, it's a bulldozing run into the box by what looked like David Silva. Bounced around awkwardly for Bournemouth. It fell to Aguero, who once again, he's so deadly in the box. He's got his second, and he's got City's third.
And once again, it's a bit of fortune that it's managed to fall to Sergio Aguero, but he's got to be in those positions to be able to finish it. That's why you pay money for top strikers. That's why you invest in them in the long term. They're always there at the right moment. Another goal for City.
Manchester City have restored their 2-goal advantage, and it's the second goal of the afternoon for Sergio Aguero. It was a little bit fortuitous how the goal came about. Aguero ran into the box. David Silva then took the ball off him. There was a queue of Bournemouth players trying to dispossess the little Spaniard. It just bounced awkwardly, fell kindly to Aguero, who made absolutely no mistake from 8 yards out. That's come just minutes after City lost a penalty appeal via VAR. It was Silva that looked like he was brought down in the box by Jefferson Lerma. VAR said no penalty, but no matter, because City have got a third. They'd lead Bournemouth 3-1.
Typical number 9 play once again from Aguero. Ball bobbling about, manages to fall to him. He's in the right place at the right time, and he sticks the ball home. As we see the possession stats in this second half, it's been 74% to Manchester City. So has been their dominance on the ball, as Rodri has the ball, gives it to De Bruyne in midfield. He's able to drive it forward as he skips past Philip Billing, gives it left to Zinchenko. Now with David Silva. Silva looking forward as Sterling's drifted inside as Zinchenko's made the overlapping run, but Silva doesn't look interested in that ball out to the wide flank. It comes back now towards defenders, and now with Kyle Walker on the right, who gives it down the line to Bernardo.
Yeah, here he is once again, Bernardo Silva. He's hugging that touchline over on that side. Now Laporte just getting his head up, looking for an option. Aguero made a darting run, but decided to go out wide instead. Now Laporte again to Rodri. Here is Bernardo Silva. No changes by the looks of it imminent for either team on the bench. Bournemouth do have options available to them to get forward. They've got Dominic Solanke, who's not really done it since joining from Liverpool, and neither's Jordan Ibe since joining from the same club, but they've got an opportunity. City have got Riyad Mahrez on the bench, Phil Foden there as well. Fernandinho, if they want another man sat in that midfield. João Cancelo, the summer signing from Juventus, and Angelino, who they brought back from PSV in the summer. And now City almost just halting the game to a standstill. They're just trying to conserve some energy because it's been a tough afternoon for them in many ways, and in some respects, if they can go on and win this game, Pep Guardiola will regard it as one of his better wins. Well, looking in the long run.
Yeah, in the long run, absolutely. It's one of those where as soon as a side makes you turn and look towards your own goal, like Manchester City have done on a number of occasions today, and you battle through it and you manage to score 3 goals and win and be in a position like they are to try and win now, it's certainly a game that you look on positively.
Yeah, they put a cross into the box now. Will it fall to Aguero? It won't. Aguero then goes down. Bournemouth struggle to clear the ball. It goes out of play for a corner. It was Sterling that was brought down rather than Sergio Aguero. He's feeling the back of one of his heels, I think. De Bruyne's ball into the box. And again, Chris Mepham clips Sterling. Again, though, it's not too dissimilar, really, to the David Silva incident where Sterling perhaps makes more of it than he should do, but there is definite contact.
Yeah, Mepham's jumping to his left-hand side to try and get his body in between Sterling and the goal. He accidentally catches the back of his heel. Sterling goes down. It's well off the ball because Steve Cook's already flicked it away, so he's never going to be given a penalty.
Corner's taken short. It's going to be drifted in towards that far post. It's headed back down and volleyed towards goal. Just blocked in time by Bournemouth, though. And they win a free kick for their troubles. It was Harry Wilson that was brought down to finally a little bit of respite as Bournemouth, well, the 2 players I mentioned, they are bringing both of them on now. Adam Smith is coming off. Jordan Ibe on in his place. That's slightly more attacking. Wing back off, winger on. Wait to see who Dominic Solanke comes on for. Good chance for both these players as Solanke still waiting to deliver the goods. It's Callum Wilson that's going to come off and Solanke on in his place. We are over the 3/4 way mark of this game now. It's Bournemouth 1, Manchester City 3. Be Matt to take us through to full time.
Cheers, Dan. As you say, in attacking changes for Bournemouth, it's more of a necessity than a choice, really, from Eddie Howe. Solanke coming on for Callum Wilson. Callum Wilson, has been running around upfield all afternoon trying to win the ball back, so no surprises in the weather and the heat and the sun that we've got this afternoon that he is struggling a bit in terms of energy, and Jordan Ibe will surely just slot in at the same position I would have thought that Adam Smith was in. However, he will be more attackive and stay further up the pitch, but that could leave Chris Mepham in a bit of danger at the back.
Yeah, he's naturally going to have to come out a bit from that centre-back position and drift over, because as you mentioned, Jordan Ibe, a natural winger, he's going to want to do more of his damage going forward, and that could leave Bournemouth liable to be really open. It's a fine balancing act, really, that they've got to play, because if they do leave gaps open, you know what Manchester City are like, they could really hurt them.
But at least they're trying to come forward here, Bournemouth, with the changes. As the ball goes long up towards Aguero, it's cleared as a man goes down. I think it's Phil Billings gone down, maybe with a head injury. He went up for a battle. Yes, he's holding his face on the ground. He went up for a battle with, may have even been Bernardo Silva, who is considerably shorter in stature than the Bournemouth man. No, he didn't even jump. It was Bernardo who jumped, just caught Billing with a stray arm, and maybe a case of a nosebleed or something along those lines. Yeah,
it looks a little bit sore for Phil Billing. It's quite comical, really, that Bernardo had to really jump with all his might just to get level with Phil Billing's face. He caught him. I don't think there was any malice involved. It's just one of those where you have to use your arms for leverage. It doesn't matter about where your arms eventually go. You have to use them to try and get up and off the air, and Billings just caught himself in the wrong place at the wrong time. But another injury worry for Bournemouth, and they've just made all 3 of their changes.
Absolutely. There was a similar incident in the Crystal Palace Manchester United game yesterday, where I think it was Joel Ward was caught across the face in the middle of the park. There was a stoppage for a few moments as blood was streaming down the face of the Crystal Palace right back because of a nosebleed, but I don't see any blood at this moment for Phil Billing. He may be even getting an eye assessment at the moment. Maybe he just got caught in the corner of one of his eyes. I do remember last season Roberto Firmino was out for a period of time for Liverpool, came back of course in the game against PSG at the start of the season. He got a stray hand to the eye, but that looked to me as if it was a forearm across the chin maybe. I'm not 100% sure as we see another replay.
Yeah, it's hard to tell really from the replay. It's just Bernardo's, his arm's gone in the way of Billings' face, and it's one of those horrible ones really where if it does affect your vision, with concussion protocol these days and any sort of head injury, the player's welfare has to come first, and they probably can't play the rest of the game. Billings back up on his feet now. He's a real big figure in that midfield, so if he can't carry on for the rest of the game, it will be a worry for them, but I think he's going to be okay.
Yep, I think he should be. They'll just have to switch formation just for a moment as Billing comes off the field. He's just holding his left cheek there as he just puts his hands to his knees and crouches over on the sidelines like a sore one for the Bournemouth big man. He's allowed straight back onto the field though. He'll have to retake his position in central midfield as the ball is at the back with Ramsdale. Looks to go long now, up towards the substitute Solanke, battling against Laporte. Almost wins that one, Solanke, but it's headed back by Laporte and goes into the arms, the grateful arms of Ederson. Ederson rolls it out back towards Otamendi, then to Laporte. Laporte's got Zinchenko on the left hand side in plenty of space. He goes right though back to Otamendi. Otamendi just turns, and Manchester City, no surprise, they're just slowing everything down as they have the 2-goal advantage. Zinchenko now back to Laporte. Laporte looking forward, he drives the ball 6-7 yards or so inside the Bournemouth half, turns backwards though back into Otamendi, ball forward, good dummy though by De Bruyne, but it only finds Steve Cook as he's able to flick the ball clear. Aguero was putting him under pressure. Aguero quickly takes the throw-in into the feet of Bernardo Silva, back to Kyle Walker, and bypasses Otamendi and just finds Laporte in the centre circle. He finds Zinchenko, that central sort of midfield position, playing at left back into David Silva. Good turn from him. He plays the ball across. It's Rodri now with Aguero on the right hand side, chips the ball into the box. It only finds the head of Chris Mepham, but that header only finds Zinchenko. Poor touch from him as Solanke tries to bring the ball out from the back. He holds the ball up, gets a little nick off a Manchester City player and will win a free kick, but clear intent from Solanke, good feet from him, and he's able to win a free kick.
Yeah, it was good play from Dominic Solanke. They'll want some hold-up play from him so that he can bring his teammates into play. It's easier said than done against the likes of Manchester City, but I think in particular since City have brought on Rodri, they have had more control in midfield, and with 17 minutes to go, you'd think they're going to hold this one out.
Absolutely, because on occasion Gundogan was sliding out of position, but Rodri's just sat there in the box though for Josh King on the left hand side. Just doesn't quite sit for him as he's battling against Rodri now. Rodri hits the deck, he's still in control of the ball somehow, but Josh King picks up the ball once again under pressure from Bernardo Silva, who just gets a toe on the ball, goes out of play, but good fighting spirit there from Josh King. He's able to win a throw-in up the pitch. Bournemouth still going for this game, you have to hand it to them. They've not just sat back, they've been trying to battle their way back into it. Throw in on the far side, looks like it's going to be taken by Steve Cook. Another long one into the box. He's on that far side, only a few yards away from the corner flag, so more like a corner routine. He does hoist it, comes in towards the front post, and running out there is Otamendi. He's brilliant in the air for a centre-back that is short in terms of centre-back standards. Cleared by Manchester City, headed away by Bournemouth, headed back forward by Aguero, finds De Bruyne on the left hand side, skips past Harry Wilson, then plays a really nice ball through towards Sterling inside the box on his left foot, turns, he's not quite got there as he's just gone towards the line and just cuts the ball back. Didn't quite stick there for Sterling.
Really unfortunate. The ball was absolutely sumptuous from Kevin De Bruyne into the feet of Raheem Sterling. Again, it's just a case of a player being on their unfavoured side. He just ran out of room, really. I mean, it is a small pitch at the Vitality Stadium. It perhaps doesn't suit players that are particularly pacey, as Sterling just tried to get there. There was no teammate to get the ball to him, but great play from City once again.
Will now be a goal kick after a spell of play for Manchester City down the left hand side. Zinchenko can't quite keep it in, so Ramsdale will take this one. About 15 or so minutes to go in this as Pep Guardiola rises back to his feet, barking orders to his team. Still a little concerned, by the way, that things are going. Knocked up towards Solanke now. He heads the ball across towards Josh King, just slightly too much power on it as it drifts out of play. And another change to come for Manchester City. It looks like Riyad Mahrez will be coming onto the pitch, and the obvious change would be for Bernardo Silva to come off, but we will see and wait confirmation of that. It may be even David Silva with Bernardo coming inside. You never know with Pep Guardiola, as it's lifted forward by Bournemouth up towards Solanke. He's putting Laporte under pressure, heads it down the line. Nice work from the Frenchman. He's able to play it to Zinchenko. Zinchenko inside to Rodri. Rodri to De Bruyne, who slows everything down completely. Plays it just to Otamendi at the back, with the Belgian once again in central midfield. Scoops the ball over the head of Solanke towards Aymeric Laporte. Laporte looks for an option in going forward, but just slows everything down and gives it to Ederson at the back. And it could be a while, you never know, before Riyad Mahrez comes on.
It's still Bournemouth 1, Manchester City 3. The chances have dried up really since Sergio Aguero got his second to give City the 3-1 advantage. Bournemouth, you feel a little bit deflated by that goal. They have made a couple of changes, attacking ones in response. Jordan Ibe has replaced Adam Smith and Dominic Solanke has replaced Callum Wilson, but neither of them have particularly made an impact so far. Just before the third City goal, Pep Guardiola brought on Rodri for Ilkay Gundogan, and they've got so much more control in midfield now. They're probably going to close this game out. Raheem Sterling had an opportunity, went from a narrow angle in the box. He couldn't quite reverse his ball to David Silva, but it's still Bournemouth 1, Man City 3.
Bernardo Silva with the ball on the far side, cuts inside on his left foot. He's waiting for De Bruyne to get onside behind him. Does find the Belgian. The Belgian tries to find Kyle Walker, who had just momentarily ran out of position, and Rodri had to cover for him. So Manchester City still with possession. Otamendi inside the centre circle, inside the Bournemouth half. David Silva comes short, gives it to Rodri. Rodri fizzes it forward to Bernardo, holds onto the ball, eventually tackled by Nathan Ake. Fraser comes in there, foul on Fraser, will play advantage, the referee, but eventually pulls it back as Josh King was under pressure on the far side. Good work from Fraser, got in there quickly, and maybe now the chance for Manchester City to make that substitution. Yes, Pep Guardiola will make it now, and I believe it will be Bernardo Silva coming off for Mahrez. Just a straight swap on the right wing.
Yeah, he's been a little bit quiet today, Bernardo Silva, but he's done what he's had to do. He's worked hard, as he always does. He's one of the most tireless players in the Premier League, and that's why even when it doesn't always come off for him, he's so valued for Pep Guardiola. Riyad Mahrez will come on now, and it's just an extra bit of pace and a bit of trickery to try and harm this tiring Bournemouth defence.
As Bournemouth tried to come forward down the right hand side, Philip Billing puts in a challenge, but it's already a stoppage in play, says Andre Mariner for offside. Man City just play the free kick short. Laporte now looking to bring the ball forward slowly. Solanke puts the half press on. It's played past him to Rodri. Rodri flicks it around the corner to Otamendi, then back to Laporte. Solanke presses once again. Laporte this time goes long up towards Aguero, who's just drifted in behind the defence, but Steve Cook does well to head the ball away. It comes to De Bruyne, then Ake is able to flick the loose touch from the Belgian away, and it comes down the right hand side. Not seen anything of Jordan Ibe so far on this right wing. It's he that has the ball at this moment. He's looking forward to try and find a pass. He doesn't fancy his chances taking Zinchenko on. Finds Harry Wilson. Harry Wilson brings it through two players, tries to fizz it in behind for the on-running Ryan Fraser, but good interception from Kyle Walker, and Manchester City have possession once again. In midfield, Rodri plays it quick with David Silva. Now between the centre-back pairing, but good sign from Bournemouth just before. Ibe wasn't too sure, slowed everything down, and then it came to Harry Wilson, and he instantly tried to find a pass through.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of those players that does like to take charge of a game and take it by the scruff of the neck, and you've got to admire that, particularly for a young player who's playing at this level for the first time. He just has so much confidence about him, and he's a go-to player. You can look at him and you know that he's got the ability to make that pass as well, and I think he's going to establish himself as a starting player in this Bournemouth side, and potentially Liverpool have got a good player on their hands.
Absolutely, he and of course Mason Mount, who has started the Premier League season brilliantly for Chelsea, were brilliant last season for Derby County. Manchester City on the ball once again, just controlling the proceedings here at the Vitality. Of course, 3-1 up inside the last 10 minutes with the majority, more than just the majority of possession, more like 75% 100% in this second half as there's a bit of a press put on by Philip Billing. Just puts a shoulder in towards Rodri as we see camera shots now of Charlie Daniels in the tunnel on crutches. Of course, came off in that first half, was in a great deal of pain, but he doesn't look too chuffed with the way his afternoon has gone as Aguero brings it forward for Manchester City. Mahrez on the right side, just inside the box now, a couple of step overs, finds Aguero on the edge of the box, shot at goal, blocked away, and then eventually cleared by Bournemouth as they win a free kick inside their own half. It's one of those, Charlie Daniels, it's good to see him on the sidelines it's good to see him on the sidelines, not good to see him in crutches, but the positive is that it means he's not at hospital.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose that is a positive. I don't think he looked like he was maybe in enough pain or distress to warrant going to hospital, but it's ominous really, the fact that he's on crutches. He must have had some diagnosis early on. We'll have to wait and see what Eddie Howe says, but it looks like an injury that could keep him out for at least a couple of months.
It certainly does, as Eddie Howe will have to find some confidence in Diego Rico to play him at left back. Of course, didn't bring him on as a replacement, brought Harry Wilson on instead. Of course, got Bournemouth's goal today, a fantastic free kick from the left hand side edge of the box outside. As I mentioned, possession the last 10 minutes has been 84% to Manchester City, played forward, taken down by David Silva, almost into the path of Aguero, but Bournemouth nick it back. Harry Wilson intercepted by Rodri, was he? No, Andre Marin and the referee says that Rodri just clipped his heels, and a good chance of a free kick for Bournemouth to get some possession upfield, but Rodri almost brought Manchester City in.
Yeah, he did. I mean, had he been able to maraud through then, City had many numbers in the clear, so Bournemouth grateful that the referee blew his whistle as Eddie Howe looks on. I mean, what can he do to beat Manchester City? Obviously, when he does press conferences, he says the usual cliches of we relish playing them, but he must absolutely hate playing against Manchester City, and most teams will feel that. Bournemouth have played quite well today, and yet they're still going to be on the end of a defeat by the looks of it.
Absolutely, and it's not always just Manchester City. Just to pull out, I just stopped for a moment as Fraser looks to go down the left hand side, sliding tackle by Kyle Walker, and it's a corner for Bournemouth. But what I was just about to say was that on Sundays, Bournemouth have never kept a clean sheet in the Premier League. So whether that's just one of those things that's just come around, maybe it's a pointless stat, but maybe it's just something on Sundays they're not able to keep tight at the back. But chance for them to get forward and score here. It would be interesting if they picked up a goal now. The pressure would certainly be on Manchester City. Fraser towards the front post, poor really, headed away by Sterling and then cleared a second time by Aguero. But when they've got the height advantage, you've got to be putting that into the danger zone.
Yeah, you certainly do. It's a really poor corner kick, and now City can come forward on the counter-attack.
Ives being intercepted, De Bruyne outside the football through towards Sterling, comes just inside the box, a couple of men recover. Will he take a shot at goal? He does, he puts it, he doesn't put it in the back of the net, he hits both posts, but the player's been stopped for offside. There's a good defensive line from Bournemouth. De Bruyne looked as if he was going to play it. He just delayed a couple of times. Maybe he tried to put the ball onto his right foot. It's a very close decision. But yeah, he just waited for it to come across onto his right foot. If he'd played it with his left, Sterling may have been on.
Yeah, I mean, it's remarkable that he managed to hit both posts with that effort. But yeah, Sterling just strayed offside there. Didn't need to. He's quick enough to get away from those Bournemouth defenders. Just a slight lapse from Raheem Sterling. But again, another indication of how it's got to be a fine balancing act for Bournemouth, because they can be open on the counter.
Coming forward on the left hand side now, our Bournemouth attempted cross on the far side is deflected away. It's Josh King over there, coming inside now, plays the ball in towards Lerma in the centre of the park, looks to put a cross in. It's fizzed in towards the edge of the box. Good feet though on the edge. Man goes down in Josh King once again, but he's not able to win a free kick. It's won back by Bournemouth inside the box. It's crossed in towards the 6-yard box, flashes across the face to goal, and no one was quite there to tap it home.
No, they weren't. They needed to be someone in there gambling. They need to get bodies forward if they are to get back in this game. More than they had there anyway. I think I counted there was one body in the box at that time. That's not enough really for when you're 2 goals down. You need to commit a few more men forward. If they had have done, you never know what could have happened. Manchester
City possession once again inside the last 5 as Walker has it on the right hand side. There's it square across the back to Laporte. No surprise, Manchester City, just slowing everything down completely. Switch of play from left to right. Only finds Ryan Fraser as Walker makes his way down the line. Cleared out now by Ramsdale. As the pass came back to him, he goes down the left hand side. King can't quite get there. and it will just be a Manchester City throw-in. Kyle Walker goes over to take it. He's looking to slow everything down. He doesn't even look as if he's going to be playing it anytime soon as he holds the ball around his waist. He now lifts it up into the air, looking down the line. A couple of complaints for time wasting, but Ake intercepts the ball. Then in towards Billing. Billing can't quite hold on to it. He flicks it over the head of a Manchester City player, but isn't able to maintain possession. Good ball inside for Rodri now for Manchester City. Good 1-2 attempt from Sterling, but he's not able to quite get the pass off as it's Bournemouth coming on the counter-attack. Touch through on the left-hand side. Solanke going through on goal. Takes a left-footed strike, but goes straight to Ederson.
Yeah, I mean, Solanke should probably be doing better there. He's kind of always heading out wide when he picks the ball up. It's not a good touch, but I think Nicolas Otamendi was almost outfoxed by it in some ways. Solanke able to get through on goal. It was a tight angle with the left foot and an easy save for Ederson.
Yeah, he was easily able to just go down to his knees and grab the ball. Manchester City have possession once again with Otamendi. Gives it to Laporte. Laporte looking just to go sideways out to Zinchenko. Decides not to as the press came on the right hand side by Harry Wilson. Back with Laporte once again. Receives it off Otamendi. Zinchenko quickly inside towards David Silva. Poor initial first touch, but he's able to just flick the ball over a Bournemouth head, and he plays it back towards Aymeric Laporte. And there's no real press here from Bournemouth. We're inside the last few moments. You have to feel that they have to put on a press now if they're going to win the ball back and get a goal, but there's nothing really until the ball comes into the central midfielders.
Yeah, I mean, Man City are kind of dominant in that position now. They're just passing the ball around the back, and they are looking limited in terms of options at Bournemouth now. They've tried to exploit everything they possibly can, but City just looking too strong. They are trying to press them, and again we go back to saying that they've certainly not been devoid of trying in this game. It's just been that lack of quality in comparison to Manchester City when it's mattered.
Absolutely, and the one bit of quality they have had was the free kick from Wilson, and that went in. They've just not stuck anything anywhere near the corners in terms of shots apart from that in this game. David Silva drops deep into a position that you wouldn't usually see Zinchenko, but a ball now played long over to the right hand side. Mahrez can't get on the end of it as it's cleared by Fraser. Good ball though inside back towards Mahrez, edge of the box on his left foot, looks to the left hand side. David Silva was almost running through. He decided to cut on his right foot and try and dribble through three players. Didn't work, but Manchester City win the ball back once again. Zinchenko square across midfield into Kyle Walker, then just back to Otamendi, returns the favour inside to Mahrez, back to Otamendi, and Laporte looking to try and play it out wide, but every single time that happens the press is put on. Zinchenko does eventually get the ball, plays a 1-2 with David Silva, and once again it's back to Laporte. Manchester City is just so comfortable, so happy to hold this ball in the middle of the park and then eventually play it long, and they do just that in towards De Bruyne on the right wing, back inside towards Mahrez, running at the Bournemouth defence. He's up against Ake, cuts on his left foot. Good defending from Ake, stops him even having a look at a shot. It's pulled back now towards Rodri. He decides not to shoot. Mahrez, edge of the box towards his right foot. Fancy feet on the edge. Nothing saying, says Andre Mariner as the tackle came in and Mahrez hit the deck. Chance for King on the left hand side to counter attack. He flicks it over the foot of the outrunning Otamendi. Puts a sliding tackle, and it looks as if it will be a Bournemouth free kick.
Yeah, I thought it was Kyle Walker initially that made the challenge, but it is Nicolas Otamendi. He picks up a yellow card. Now, I think going back to that Riyad Mahrez opportunity, he probably should have struck the ball a little bit earlier. He was cutting in, and he was just lessening the angle for himself, running into traffic more than anything, and it was good defending by Nathan Ake. As another change, the final change has been made. Kyle Walker has been brought off because players are going to be running at him, and it's a debut for João Cancelo. Yep,
João Cancelo just going on to that right hand side. He'll just slot in at right back. He's usually more of an attack minded right back more than a defensive one, but he will slot in for the final few moments. Of course, it would be a massive surprise should Bournemouth be able to score two in the late stages of the game. We've got 4 minutes of added time as we have a free kick for Bournemouth on the far side. It will be whipped in left footed towards the penalty spot, headed on by Solanke. Billing can't quite get there at the far post, calls for offside, and I think it will be called for offside as Billing just strayed after the touch from Solanke, and that attack ends pretty swiftly.
Yeah, it's looking Pretty hopeless for Bournemouth now, just can't get anything going. The changes haven't really worked as well as they would have liked. Maybe a bit surprised that they brought off Callum Wilson, because even though he wasn't having a great game, you know that he's the main scoring threat. Solanke had that chance, he wasn't able to put it in the back of the net. Jordan Ibe has been very quiet on the sidelines. You alluded to the Bournemouth injuries earlier in the match. Once they get all those players back, they will be a force to be reckoned with.
Absolutely they will. I mean, the likes of David Brooks had a brilliant season last season. Stanislas can always offer something, and then Lewis Cook to slot into midfield. It should be really good in terms of the battle for places for Bournemouth across the park as the long ball comes forward under pressure from Ederson. Billing flicks it around the corner. Ball won though by Manchester City in through the middle of the park. Ake with a sliding challenge and another one on Aguero this time. First one on Sterling. He's able to just stop the attack. It comes to Ibe on the right side. Skips past De Bruyne. Wins a free kick on the near side as Ramsdale picks up the ball, runs and rolls it towards the spot that the free kick will be taken. Pep Guardiola, arms folded on the edge of his technical touchline. He's not too pleased with the way things have been going in this second half, although his team have scored 2 goals and not been comfortable in terms of going backwards. As Ramsdale puts the ball up, it's headed on by a Bournemouth head, but only goes straight towards Ederson, who can grab the ball and just holds it for a moment, throws the ball out to the far side towards João Cancelo. First touch for him. Quick 1-2 down the line. Goes backwards now towards Otamendi. Otamendi will just dribble the ball out of play, and no surprise, as some of the Bournemouth fans are now heading for the exits. It's a done, signed deal and delivered by Manchester City, but it's not always been comfortable in this game, and they'll certainly be looking at in next games thinking we need to shore up at the back.
Yeah, there have been a few weaknesses for Manchester City in terms of not just their defensive play, but some of the attacking play that they've had as well has been as sloppy as I've seen from Manchester City in recent memory, and that won't please Pep Guardiola. We know what an unbelievable perfectionist he is on the sideline. That was evidenced by the argument he had with Sergio Aguero when he was substituted last week. So he will be working on things on the training ground, but if this is Manchester City when they're at the poorest, that's an ominous sign.
Bournemouth win the ball back. They're running forward down the left hand side. Now it comes to Josh King. Looks to go down the line. Cuts on his right foot. Inside the box. Gets past his man. Flicks it inside. It falls to a man in the box. It's Solanke. Takes a shot at goal. Saved by Ederson. I thought maybe it would have been just offside, but plays continue. It's De Bruyne now bringing it out for Manchester City. Plays the ball up to Sterling. Sterling turns, but not quickly enough as Mepham closes him down. In towards De Bruyne once again. Tries to switch play to the right hand side. Intercepted by Jordan Ibe. Last 15 or so seconds in this game, as Ibe brings it out from the back, looking to go down the right hand side, the left of Manchester City. Flicks it through. He's in past Zinchenko, past Rodri. Puts the ball into the box. Poor touch by Laporte. Picked up by David Silva, and he slows everything down. Plays it down the line to Alexander Zinchenko. Just flicks the ball into his hands as the referee Andre Mariner blows his whistle after a few nervy moments for Manchester City.
Right, so that's full time. It finishes 3-1 to Man City. 2 goals from Aguero, 1 goal for Sterling and 1 goal for Harry Wilson. We're going to go through the stats for the game, and then we'll end this stream, start a new one for Tottenham versus Newcastle, and then we'll go through the league table and stuff in there. So just looking at the stats quickly, 74% possession for Man City, 26% for Bournemouth, 9 shots for Bournemouth, 19 for Man City. Then 6 on target for Bournemouth, 5 for Man City, and 5 corners for Man City, 4 for Bournemouth. So Man City, better team. They deserve to win, and they've now got 3 points. But I'm going to end the stream now. I'm going to start a new one at 4 o'clock for Tottenham versus Newcastle. So if you want to watch that, then subscribe to the channel, then you'll be able to easily